Hi. First, we want to learn anything. We must have the basic four questions. That is, what, why, who, when. So now I am planning to tell about the Python. So Python is a programming language. And why? Why we want to learn this Python? Because it is user friendly and everyone can understand. Even the person like know the syntax or not, when we see the code itself we can easily understand. Who created this Python? Created by Guido van Rossum. When it was created, it was in the year 1991. So these are the four primary questions when we want to learn any new concepts or any new technology or anything. And next, so everyone saying like programming language. First, we want to know what is this programming language. So programming language is the one which we can communicate to the computer. See, like if we can type like my name is Teja or some etc., the computer won't understand, right? So uh, it must have some set of instructions which it converts to its native language. Native language is the one which it converts to the machine language that it can understand to execute or run the code. So each and everything we have, I mean, every programming language has some set of instructions, right? So for each instruction we have to follow four, I mean alphabets, lexis, syntax and semantics. And these programming languages also divided into three types, that is high level, assembly level and machine level languages. And some of the examples of the programming languages are everyone knows like C, CPP, Java, Python, etc. And so I said about the four rules. One is alphabet. Alphabet is a one which is a symbol. I mean a character or digit or any special character. I mean full stop, comma, exclamatory, everything will come under an alphabet category. And lexis. Lexis is the one which has a set of words. I mean words is the one set of alphabets. For example, message is a one word and line, sentence, etc. And the third rule is syntax. So if you spell anything, the other person must understand what you are trying to say. So how the other person can understand? It is by the concept of syntax. If for example, if someone asks what is your name, if you say my name is Teja, they can understand, okay, your name is Teja. If you say like my Teja is name, the other person won't understand because the entire grammatical mistake as well as syntax. So whenever you want to do something, that something must be the valid. And the final rule is semantics. Semantics is the one, the entire statement or the sentence, it is in the particular phase or not. So for example, I ate mango, I ate plate. In the first sense, you can eat mango but not plate, even though the statement is correct but the sense is the different. So if you say for any specific thing, the sense also must match. So these are the four rules we have to follow in the programming language. And I said like there are three three levels. I mean, one is high level and the second one is assembly level and the third one machine level languages. What is high level? The high level is the one which humans can understand very easily by seeing the code, or they can easily grasp everything. For such category, the examples are C, Python and Java, whereas assembly level, if the person knows the syntax or semantics, then the person are able to understand that language. The microprocessor or microcontroller are the examples of the assembly language. And the machine level, the humans can't understand very easily because it is a mixture of both zeros and ones which the user can't understand very easily. And next, how the machine doesn't understand high level, as I said earlier. So the machine converts the high level to the low level. What is low level? The low level is the one which the computer understands. That is called the native language or the low level language. This low level language is consists of zeros and ones. So for transforming to the high level to the low level, for each and every language they have separate types. I mean, in some languages it will take compiler, and in some languages it will take as interpreter. So we have to know what is compile and what is interpreter. So if you write any code, for example, you want to print something in the code. I mean, I will show one example. So you want to print something. So the output is we are getting high. How the system will give this high? So it first takes the R input, I mean print of high, and it will change internally and gives that output. So in compiler state, when we run the code, it will produce one extra file called .exe file. And this file, for example, in my system, I run the source code. Source code is the one which we make the script. And I got the .exe file and gave this .exe file to some other person, and they can run the .exe file without having the source code. And the for compilation, for example, Java is one of the language which chooses this compilation process, whereas interpreter, it doesn't need any intermediate file. If I wrote any source code, if the end user want to run that code, the end user must need the entire file. There is no extra file in between. For this interpretation, Python is the example. And what is the advantages for both compilation and interpreter? So in compilation, we no need to share our source code. Actually, source code is the main source to run any program. So it must be safe in concept of compilation. Whereas in interpreter, if I wrote one code, I gave the entire code to the end user. If unfortunately he typed anything in between, the entire code will collapse, and the programmer who wrote the code didn't find like where they added that extra word. So it will take more time to come back to the original state. So uh, this is the thing in respect of compilation and interpreter. And in interpreter, we have to run the code each and every time. If we run a single modification, single line of modification, we have to rerun the entire interpreter. And what are the disadvantages? In compiler, we have to each and every time we need the .exe file, which takes more time to get that file. And if you want to change the machine, for example, you have Windows and some other person have Linux, and it won't be satisfy the requirement because that exe is specified to all Windows, not the Linux versions. So that is one disadvantage. Whereas in interpreter, if your system is low, I mean the computer power is low in your system, so it will take more time to execute the entire code. Both you and end users must need the interpreter. I mean, if you run the code and you have Python interpreter, and the end user also must need the Python interpreter to run the entire code. So these are the disadvantages in the interpreter. So now we want to discuss about the Python language, which is an interpreter language. So uh, everyone said Python, Python. First, we want to know what is Python. Python is a open source software which anyone can download that software without any pay or any cost. We can get the software freely. And this Python has very friendly syntax where user can easily understand, and it is an interpreter language, as I earlier said, and it allows object oriented is the one. It allows to create class and objects. I will discuss this in later classes. And this is high level language, and this Python is used in artificial intelligence and machine learning languages. And in some of the projects we use this Python as a web application is the one which we creates ui means user interface. History of Python. Python is created by this guy, Guido van Rossum, and it is the effort of multiple programmers, testers, users, and specialists. So in Python, we have two main versions, Python 2 and Python 3. And Python 2 is the old version, which has a a bit difficult syntaxes which user can have some time to understand all those syntax. In Python 2, we use a print as print space. In double quotes, we have to mention hi, and then it will give the output of hi. Whereas in Python 3, we use print off in braces, we have to give that hi. Otherwise, it will throw an error. And Python 3 is the latest release when the user can easily understand that language. And in Python 3, we can use the mix of language, either with the C or HTML or Java. We can have the mix with Python. And it also supports modern machine learning technologies. Machine learning technologies is the one we can create the machine learning models. And it supports multiple libraries. How to download this Python? You just go to python.org/downloads, and you can view this screen. And here you click on Windows, this one, Windows, and you can view all these things, and you can download the standard version, that is 3.7.4. And you click on this download Windows x86-64 embed installer. After clicking that link, you can prompt to save that exe where you want to save that Python software. Once it is installed, you double click on that exe what you got from the previous step, and you checkbox this one, add Python 3.7 to path, and then you have to install. When the installer is in progress, it will show like this. It is in the progress state. Once the installer is success, you can get the successful message like setup was successful. Then you can get the Python in your machine. So once you search for the Python, you can get this command prompt in your machine where you can write the programming thing. And the first basic thing in any language, what are the operators it supports? So here there are 7 different types of operators. One is arithmetic, assignment, comparison, logical, identity, bitwise, and membership. First we'll go through all these operators. Arithmetic, by the name itself, everyone knows what is the arithmetic operators. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulo, exponential, and float division. So for example, I will take the input of A equal to 9, B equal to 5. I am printing print of A plus B. The output is 14. And print of A minus B, you will get 4. And print of A into B, you will get 45. Print of A slash B means the division. You will get 1.8. Here In the division mode, you will get the float values. Float values is the one which you will get decimal, in the form of decimal. I mean the integer contains dot symbol, which is called the float. And print of a mod b, which it will give the remainder. I mean, if we divide 9 mod 5, we'll get the remainder of 4. And print a double star of b, it will give the exponential. I mean 9 power 5, 9 into 9 into 9 into 9 into 9. That is the value of 59049. And the print of floor division means it will give the floor value. Floor value means the least minimum. So when we divide the a by b, we'll get 1.8, and the 1.8 floor value is 1. And the seal value means the upper limit. When we seal it, we'll get the 2. We don't have the syntax for that seal. We have library for that. I will show later classes. Those are the arithmetic operators. I mean the basic operators. Now the assignment. Assignment means equal to, plus or equal to, minus or equal to, multiplication or equal to, slash, modulo, in that way. I will show the same. So for example, I will take a equal to 9 again. And so in a equal to 9, 9 is assigning to the variable a. And the equal to is the one which acts as an assignment. And a plus or equal to 1. And print of a. So it internally takes a equal to a plus 1. So 9 plus 1, it will give the output as 10. Next, print of a minus or equal to 4. So a now is 10, and I am subtracting 4 from it. We'll get 6. Okay, fine. A minus or equal to 4. Print of a 6. We can't use this type of expression operators inside the print, so I'm getting the invalid syntax error. And if I multiply a to 2 and I am printing of that a, I am getting like 6 into or equal to 12. I mean 6 is multiplied with the 2. And now I will division of 2, print of a. 12 by 2 will get 6.0. For every division we will get this type of float value. And now I will mod of 2, print of a. We will get 6 mod 2, the remainder is 0 because 6 is exactly multiplied by 2, so the remainder is 0. So it will print the remainder is 2. And a floor equal to 2, print of a. We'll get 0 because we already, the value of a is 0. And if I float to that a, will get the 0. And a exponent, the double star is the exponent. So 0 power 2, we will get again 0. 0. So these are the assignment operators. I mean, it will act like equal to, plus or equal to. So assignment is the one which must have equal to symbol in the operators. And these are also the sum of assignment operators. This is AND, OR, XOR, right shift, and the left shift. And as everyone knows, for example, a equal to 5 I take as an input and I am AND with 3. We already know the binary syntax of a. I mean 5 is 0101 and 3 is 0011. I am doing AND. The AND condition, whenever both the values are 1, then only 1, the remaining things are 0, so we will get the answer is 1, so the output is 1. If I give OR operation, if any one of the thing is 1, the resultant value is 1. So when we OR it, we will get the value as 7. And this is XOR whenever the combination like 0 1 1 0, it is 1, else it is 0. And for this thing, I got 6. And the same right shift and left shift. So for example, here I gave A equal to 5 and I am giving right shift to 3 times. So I am right shifting this 0 1 0 1 to 3 times. I am getting all zeros. So I got the output 0, and the same way left shift of 3 times. It will slide from the thing to the left side. So 0101 becomes 000 10100, which is equivalent to 40. Now comparison operator. Comparison means it is between two quantities or elements or objects. So I am comparing here A with B. A equal to 5, B equal to 7. I am checking A equal to B. So 5 equal to 7, it is wrong. So it will return false. And it is not equal to, it is true. And it is less than or equal to, I mean 5 is less than or equal to 7, it is true. And 5 is greater than or equal to, it is false. So it returns false. And in the same way, less than and greater than, it will return either true or false based upon the condition. In this case, 5 is less than 7, true, and 5 is greater than 7, false. Logical operators, which I told earlier, and or not. It is simple and or not, which doesn't have any equal to symbol. So because of that, it is get out from the assignment operators, because we didn't have equal to in the syntax. For example, I am taking the input as A equal to 10, and I am checking whether A is greater than 5 and the same A is less than 15. So if these both two conditions are true only, it will print the true, else it will return false. In the case of OR, if any one of the condition is true, then it is written true. Here it is 10 is greater than 5, correct. So it won't check the second condition, because in OR condition any one of the condition is true, then it will return true, right? In the same way, in this OR condition, first it will check the first condition. If it is satisfied, he just ignore the second condition and it directly prints the output as true. And not condition is the reciprocal, I mean whatever output we got from this condition, it just negotiate it and it will get the output. Here A greater than 5 and A less than 15, the value is true, and we are negotiating it, I mean we are reciprocaling it, so we got the value as false. And identity operator, identity where we can give if both are same or not. So I am giving A equal to 5 and B equal to 10. If A is B, A is 5, no, 5 is 10, no, it is wrong, so it is false. A is not B, yes, 5 it is not equal to 10, I mean 5 and 10 are not the same value, so it is true. Next, bitwise operator. Bitwise operator is a symbol. We just give the ampersand symbol or symbol, XOR for cap, and not for this negation, and right shift and left shift. So it in this bitwise operators, it takes one shift. Either, for example, if I give AND A, it will check with 1. If I give OR A, it will check with 1. XOR A, it will check with 1. So in the bitwise operators, it defaultly check with 1. Whereas in assignment operator, we can give like what value you want to compare with. I mean, if you want to end with a 5 times, so you can give A ampersand or equal to 5. But in bitwise operators, it takes the default value as 1, and that 1 is performed with the input. In our case, 1 is performed with A, which is the value of 5. And these are the corresponding outputs. membership operator. We have some collection of items. We have to check whether our exemption thing or what or the thing which we are thinking whether it is present in that collection or not. So I am taking A equal to some set of numbers 1, 3, 4, 5. I am checking whether 3 is present in that A or not. So for that, the keywords we will use are in, not in. So I'm checking whether 3 is present in A or not. Yes, 3 is present in A. So the value is true. 3 is not in A. So the 3 value of, I mean the value 3 is already present in A. So the condition is false and it returns the value as false. Thank you.
If you understand the video and you like it, share it and subscribe it and tell your friends to subscribe. Thank you.